What's up guys, Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bass. In today's video, we are talking summertime dock fishing. I have some tips and some tricks to help you guys catch more fish next time you're out dock fishing, boat positioning, how to pick the right docks, the top baits, all of it. Let's go. Summertime dock fishing is an awesome way to target big fish in the heat of the summer. You know, summertime, it's hot out, fish like to get up underneath things, cool down, sit in that shade. That way they have good ambush locations, they got structure, they can bump up against the pilings. So dock fishing this time of the year is awesome. If you guys haven't tried it, you guys definitely need to get out on the water and target the shallow water fish up underneath docks. But today's video, I want to talk about just some of the easy things to think about when you're coming up to a dock. You know, picking your boat positioning, picking your cast, make sure you're casting to the right piling first, or the correct piling first. That way you don't pull the fish out from under the back of the dock. But I just want to give you guys some tips and some things that I do when I come up to a dock, or how I approach a dock, or how I select a dock to start out on when there's an entire row of docks. You know, so let's talk about that first. How to select the correct dock. You know, where we're at right now, we're on a large, we're in a backwater on Chickamauga, but you got a long kind of shoreline with a handful of docks. And what we have here is really the last big dock before the docks end. You know, over here they're actually building a new one, but I don't want to fish a dock that's being constructed right now, right? I want to fish something has some age to it, has some character. You know, for me, the old wooden docks are the best docks for me in the summertime. Wintertime, I typically like the metal docks because they transmit that heat down those metal pilings better. But summertime, it's all about those old wooden docks. So this guy right here is, like I said, the last. Kind of pan over and show you guys before we get hit with those waves. You can look over down here in this little cove. Got a little for sale dock over here, and then a little cove, and then another dock out here on the point. But like I said, this guy right here is really the last dock for a half mile or a mile, 3/4 of a mile or so. So all those big fish that are up shallow are going to use that last dock as either home base or kind of a transition when they're coming in and out of this backwater. So starting off the bat, that is going to be the dock that I would start out fishing. Again, it's old, it's got older, it's got a lot of pilings in the water, a lot of structure. You know, some of these docks will have just 4 to 6 pilings in the water. You know, looking at this one, it's got just visible 22 pilings that I can count without counting the back row. So there's a lot of stuff going on underneath this specific dock. So when you're trying to choose the correct dock, pay attention to its location, pay attention to the size, what it is made out of, and if it's easy to cast to. You know, pulling up to a dock where the water is touching the bottom of it, I can't skip under it. I have to make, that cuts my cast, the amount of cast that I can effectively make around this dock. It cuts them at least in half, because I can't skip any of the corners, I can't skip the back, I can't get underneath that dock if it's touching the water. So pick docks that have a little bit of room, a little bit of clearance between the water and the wood. So hopefully that helps you guys on selecting the dock that you want to fish on. You know, what I've found is fishing docks is some docks just have it and some docks don't. Some of the best looking docks, you can't buy a bite, and some docks just hold big fish year round. So if you can find those docks, always start on those docks first, obviously. But this dock right here, I'm gonna use it for today's video. You can see it's got 2 slips. Let me get positioned over here for you guys. I'll kind of square it up just so you guys can see. Typically my boat positioning would be a little bit different, but for today's purposes of having it in camera and on camera for the cast, got to get a little bit different of how I position the boat and a little bit closer. But as you can see, it's got 2 slips. You could actually put a boat on the outside, 1, 2 in the middle, and then one on the outside. So as I'm looking at it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight lane casts that I could make. So I can bring a bait on the outside, I could bring a bait on the inside, another one on the inside, and so forth. You guys can kind of see that. Hopefully, I'm gonna make these casts for you so you can see. But one thing I haven't addressed already is a lot of guys like to get up on the dock. You know, not me. I like to stay away from the dock. As you can tell in this video, I'm not getting too close. I like to stay away. I like to shut down my big motor, you know, quite a ways away and just kind of creep up on the dock. I will turn my main units in the back console off onto standby, not off, onto standby, and I'll just use my front 360 and 2D sonar, but I stay away from the dock. I don't want to spook any of those fish that are up underneath that dock. So the other thing is pay attention to the shade lines. Obviously right now we're under that, like I said, that thunderstorm, those summer thunderstorms, lots of cloud cover. So really that hurts your dock fishing. You know, the reason that hurts it is because, like I said in the beginning, these fish are looking to get up underneath the dock, get shade, get out of that sun. You know, they don't have eyelids. They like to ambush out of shade. Well, what do clouds do? They take away the shade. So now any of those fish, they were under that dock trying to get in the shade. Kind of turn this for you guys. Now could be anywhere around this dock. They could be out here roaming. So that's gonna widen my cast range. You know, I might throw one maybe 15 feet off of this point or off of this point. I don't have to be right on the corner of that dock. Now, if it was sunny, another thing you need to pay attention to is where the sun is at and where that shade moves to. Because a lot of times, as like tonight, that sun was setting, it's gonna put the shade line way out here, maybe 8, 10, 12, 15 feet out off the side of the dock, and fish will use those shade lines just like they would under the dock. So don't forget or don't miss those casts. So enough talking, let's break down this dock and how I would approach it. Like I said, I'm staying a little bit closer than normal because of the camera. I want you guys to be able to see. But my first cast is gonna be right along the outside. Now, any of those fish that are in the middle of that kind of platform, the largest platform on this dock, anything from the middle to the right, I want to be able to hit that bait on the outside. The other side, on the inside, I will hit with the next cast. So you can start way off the side. Got a little bit of boat traffic coming here, guys. And I'm gonna see if I can pull anything off of the outside of that dock. Lots of grass up there. Next cast is going to be right along the wood. I'm going to bring this right by that front post. So right now I just made a cast and I'm fishing all 3 or 4 of those pilings along that edge of the dock. Now you can see I'm actually throwing a 6-inch swim bait. This is an Osprey tournament talon. You know, I could be fishing it with a Kitech, a flashy swimmer, but I like to target the bigger fish. You know, I don't ever start off on a dock throwing a small finesse bait. I always like to throw the bigger baits, trying to get the biggest fish that live on that dock to eat. So I'll let some of these ripples go by. So I've made 2 casts on the outside. I fished the outside right along the outside, we'll call them the right pillars. The next cast I'm gonna make, I'm actually gonna skip one up underneath that platform. Let that sink. One trick about skipping baits, start your skip out close to the boat. Don't try and 45-degree angle it, you know, because you want to get as low as you can out here and just get that bait that momentum low, but skipping across right out in front of the boat. Again, I'm not fishing this very good while I'm talking to you guys. But yeah, just make that skip right here. Get all the way back there. So now moving along this dock, obviously I would fish it a lot slower. I might make a couple casts if I was fishing this normal. Try and position the camera for you guys to see. Now I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the next two slips. Yeah, so the platform over here, platform right there, that's gonna be your largest shade area. That's where, for me, the #1 spot on this dock is gonna be that main platform. So I might give an extra cast or two on the outside and back under, and along this inside right here. Right there. Now, if I was fishing this with a drop shot or some kind of finesse bait like a shaky head, I would hit that front corner and second corner. I wouldn't go all the way back right off the bat. I don't want to, I want to work each piling back. I don't want to fish the whole length of the dock in one cast. But with this big swim bait, it's the opposite. So, boom, 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 boom. Now I'm gonna go back left corner and bring it along this side over here. That just skipped all the way to the bank. So that's a bonus. But you can see right now, the darkest part of that dock is underneath this platform and that very back walkway that's going parallel to the shoreline. So I'm gonna fast forward just so we're not having a 20-minute video on this dock. But I'm gonna come along here, then I'm gonna hit this point right here in the middle. Same thing outside, but the majority of these fish, the biggest fish I feel, are gonna be right here. So this is right on this platform right here. This is where I'm gonna give the most amount of time and most casts. So, like I said, this is the Osprey. That's that tournament talon. That is an awesome dock skipping bait. You can see how easy it is to skip. But like I said, you want to start your skip out here, you know, close to the trolling motor. You want to go low. You want to keep that rod tip down along the water and just let that thing carry that momentum back underneath that dock. Okay, so now that we talked about the types of docks, we talked about how to position them, or boat position on them, talked about how to break down the casts. Now let's talk about baits. I said I always start with a reaction bait. Typically it's a swim bait. You know, I could throw a glide bait, a nice big glide bait along the edges, but I can't actually fish up underneath that big platform. So if the platform is narrower, you know, a big glide bait is gonna pull that fish that's underneath that platform out, either side, inside or outside, right? But if it's wider, you definitely have to get a bait up underneath it. That's when I will go with the swim bait. Flashy swimmer, this guy right here, that's just that little owner flashy swimmer. And this is actually the, that's the Big Bite Baits Pro Swimmer. Had that bait tied on from our recent underwater video. Let's see if we can get bit on this. That just adds a little bit more flash. Again, you can fish this dock quicker with a reaction bait. It's weedless, so if there is grass up shallow, a lot of people like to hang stuff underneath their docks. So if you need to go with a weedless bait, that's a great little setup right there. Make one more cast and then we'll go. I was hoping to catch one for you guys. So the flashy swimmer, weedless swim bait, an awesome bait. Obviously you can't talk about a dock video or a dock skipping video without talking about a jig. I typically like throwing a Nico or a weightless Senko on a spinning rod. You know, if you're gonna go finesse, I like to go on a spinning rod because you can skip these baits just like you can that big swim bait up underneath that dock. You know, get all the way up underneath there, let this thing fall. Again, this is a weightless 5-inch Senko. This is what's gonna really slow down your speed, your tempo. But if you feel like this is the dock and you know there's fish there, you've given them the big baits, now you can slow down and really finesse them with that Senko or that Nico rig. Obviously, you can skip a jig. I like skipping a worm, especially on the spinning rod, just because I'm more accurate with it. I don't have to worry about backlashes, but I can get that thing all the way back up and underneath that platform where those big fish are gonna be. So 5-inch Senko, Nico rig. If you're fishing a little deeper dock, you know, this dock right here is it's less than 4 feet or so it's fairly shallow. If you're fishing a deeper dock, say 10, 12, 15 feet, go with that Nico rig. It'll get that bait down faster and you can have a lot more feel down on the bottom. If I'm just fishing around the outside of the docks, I'm not skipping at all, I always throw my shaky head, that guy right there, and my drop shot on a bait caster. The reason being, I'm not open water fishing. You guys see that? I'm not open water fishing. I am fishing around hard stuff. I'm fishing around a dock piling. I'm fishing around stuff underneath the dock. So I throw it on a bait caster. I typically throw 12-pound fluorocarbon to a braid to a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. It's just easier to cast. You know, I can do the little backhand pitches. I can do that sort of stuff. But if I do get bit, I can set the hook and really control that fish and get them out from that dock where they have the opportunity or the possibility to break me off. So if I was fishing a dock that was smaller than this, say it only had 1 slip, not 2, you know, I could flip the corners. Bait caster is really, really easy. You know, casting, flipping, just fish these corners, work the outsides first. Remember, if you're fishing the finesse stuff, work your way back. Fish the outside, the pilings, the edges of the dock that are closest to you, and then work your way back. That just allows you to fish the key areas a little bit differently, and you don't fish, you know, the whole dock at once. If that makes sense. If you are in a hurry and you're just blowing down a bank, fire to the back and work that finesse bait quicker, but you're gonna have more bites and you're gonna catch more fish, slowing down and really target casting each of those key locations, the outside points, and then each of the pilings. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. Again, it's kind of a little different video, talking about how to position the boat. Again, you're starting here, stay way off, give yourself some good casting angles. It's a little different with the camera because I got to make sure that the dock is in camera, in view, but give yourself some distance, be quiet, sneak up to the dock, look for those shade lines, look for those key pieces of structure. You know, maybe there's a boat in one of the slips and you could cast along it on the other side, that sort of stuff. Just pick your lanes, pick your casts. But this dock right here, I would probably make 10 to 12, 15 casts on this dock alone before I moved on. Again, I'm not gonna blow through the whole thing quick unless I'm in a time hurry or I'm, you know, the time crunch, something like that. Then I will take that reaction bait and fish it along the lengths of the dock, get all the way to the back, and then come out. But typically I fish it fairly slow, especially this time of the year when you know those fish are gonna be up underneath that shade to catch those fish, get more bites. But again, down below in the video description, I will link some of my favorite colors of the baits I discussed and some baits that are really easy to fish and that we've had a lot of success on catching fish in and around docks. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully this gives you some confidence, gives you a little bit of kind of a transcript for you guys to approach these docks in the summertime with confidence. It's not, don't overthink it. You know, a lot of people are afraid to fire a big bait near a dock or make a cast with a jig with a dock. You know, you see those memes floating around on the internet talking about nothing's louder than, you know, your 3/4 ounce, your 1/2 ounce jig hitting someone's pontoon boat on the dock. Don't be afraid. Be accurate with your casts. The guys that can make the casts that other people can't are gonna catch the fish that other people can't. So be accurate with your casts, get out there and practice, but don't be afraid to get out there and send it along the pontoon boat with your jig. Guys, like I said, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully this gives you confidence. If you learned something from this video, give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to our channel. We do 3, 4, 5 videos a week sometimes, strictly to help you guys catch more and bigger bass. As always, guys, we appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.